G'day camper. Now for anything mentioned in this video, I'll pop links down below so you can find them easy. And number one is these tarp clips. Now, if you've ever busted an eyelet on a tarp, this one's actually got all its eyelets intact, very surprising for a blue tarp. This is going to save you. It just clips onto the edge, push that down nice and tight. Now, missing eyelet, no worries. It's not just handy for when an eyelet breaks either. Have you ever tried to tie a shelter up between trees and you're struggling to get just the right tension because that tree needs to be like a step that way? Well, you can't move the tree and every other tree's in the right spot. Well, if you just put a tarp clip, then you're kind of realigning your tie off and you can get perfect tension across the whole shelter. Now, I always keep 2 or 3 of these in my rope kit, in my camping kit. But if you don't have any and you really need an emergency field fix, this one should do. Any old pebble or a honky nut is good. Wherever your eyelet tore out, stick the pebble into the tarp. And there you go. A pebble or a honky nut makes a tie-off point. I won't say what that looks like, because I can't use the word. Tip number 2 is to fix a failing gas stove. So as long as you know you've got plenty of gas left and running out of gas isn't the problem, if you've got a really low blue flame, this tends to be blocked jets, and that can happen because LPG actually leaves residue over time. Unblocking these jets is actually really easy. If you can take them out, pop them in a billy or a pot of boiling water for 2 to 5 minutes. Boiling water will actually just strip the residue away. And every time I've tried this, it has worked a treat. The other problem you can encounter is yellow flame. Either can shoot sometimes really high above the stove, or it's just yellow and not a very good burn. And that tends to be blocked burner tubes. Take the burner tubes out, they're not particularly fragile, so get a stick in there and poke around. Insects sometimes go and make nests in them, ants and certain bees and wasps, that sort of thing. And then boil them as well, can't hurt to boil them. This is the 2 major things that'll get a gas stove performing really well. And I've actually got a whole video on servicing a gas stove, so link up the top there. Tip number 3, you're getting a 2-for-1 bonus here. Mozzie coils, the power of 100 cigarettes. If you haven't seen that video, check out the card at the top there. Anyway, you might have seen this one kicking around on the social feeds. You see this little notch here. There's a notch cut out into there. Well, that is actually for holding all of the broken pieces of mosquito coil you always end up with. There's a lot of false things on social media, but turns out that wasn't one of them. Now, I said it was a 2-for-1. The power of 100 cigarettes video I just mentioned, that's where I picked up this tip from the comments. You actually don't have to separate the mosquito coils. They always break when you try and do it. Well, a number of comments said, oh, you don't have to separate them, just burn one while they're still connected and the other one won't burn. Turns out they were right. You can see the scorch marks around there. Why bother trying to separate them at all? Tip number 4, I carry 100 meters of paracord in my camping kit. Look at the size of it. If you were to carry rope, 100 meters of rope would be like a huge bundle. And this stuff was a bargain too. I'll leave a link down in the description. It was under 30 bucks. It was 20 odd dollars. Anyway, point is, when I need to cut a new length, it frays out like that. So pretty quickly you've got a big mess on your hands and it's not very easy to thread through anything and it just falls apart. Now your dad might have taught you this. My dad taught me this. And well, if he didn't, here I am helping you out. It's pretty simple. Your end is frayed, get a lighter and just melt the end. This works with any rope really that's synthetic. I'm not so sure about natural ones. Now once it's all nice and melted, let it cool for a second. There's a bit of a knack to this because you don't want to go pinching it straight away and melting it to your fingers. Still a bit hot. There we go, now it's good. And then just tap away at it like that. And that end is hard as a rock. You can hear it chink on my ring. You can apply this trick to like a bit of paracord if you're doing like I do, the end of your guy ropes if your guy ropes are fraying, even your shoelaces if you lose the little, there's a name for that thing on the end of shoelaces but I've forgotten it. You can use this to melt it over so your shoelaces don't fray. Pretty much if it's ropey and it's synthetic, it's fair game. Tip number 5, replace a busted 12-volt plug. You can buy replacement ones of these from hardware stores, auto parts stores, maybe even servos, like the big ones out on the highway. Whenever I have a piece of gear that breaks, if it's going off to the tip, I'll often cut the plug off and keep the plug for later to repair something else. Usually all you need is basic tools. In this case, it's just got a little screw in here. The end usually has to be unscrewed. And sometimes you'll find a fuse inside like that. Now, your problem might even be that just the little fuse is blowing. But if the plug's smashed or something, the plug then comes in half. Make sure you lose any little springs and stuff. And the most important thing is to note which wire coming out of the lead is going to the center. So the center of these plugs is always positive and the outside springy part's always negative. So as long as you solder whichever wire was going to the center onto the center of the new plug, you're all good. You might need a screwdriver, but not always. You probably will need some cutters or wire snips, and quite possibly a soldering iron and some solder, and of course knowing how to use it. I'll give you, it's a little bit trickier than the rest, but it can be done. One more thing to say about that actually, if you've broken one of those 12-volt cigarette sockets, it might actually be worth thinking about changing it over to a Anderson style plug, because if you look at this battery box, it is loaded with Anderson ports. Anderson plugs are a lot stronger and a lot more secure. However, you do need a bit more hardware to fit them up. You'll definitely need some side cutters like this, but you'll also need big, heavy-duty crimpers. I want to say $50 is what they cost me, but that was probably 6 years ago, so you're probably looking at about 100 with inflation these days. Story time. In 2016, I bought a boat, and in 2017 for Christmas, we went up to Steep Point. Now, if you don't know Steep Point, and there's every chance that's true, it's the westernmost point of Western Australia, and it is incredibly rough, that road in there. Well, we took the boat up there. The boat was fully loaded with a lot of camping gear, fishing gear. And we're not talking big boat, it was a tinny, like 10-foot tinny. And smashing over the corrugations, no worries. Didn't really think to check the boat too much. Well, by the time we got there or near to there, we realised that the slides on the boat trailer had kind of collapsed, and the rods that hold the slides in place had punched up and punched holes in the bottom of the tinny. Well, we'll get to what happened to the tinny in a moment. I want to talk mostly about how we repaired the boat trailer. So up at Steep Point, they had just gone through replacing all of the signposts for the campgrounds with metal and aluminium ones. And all of the ones that were just made out of the old pine posts, all the pine posts were just thrown to the side. So we asked if we could use the pine post, and that was no worries. We took the skids off of the boat trailer. We cut the pine posts down to that length using a metal hacksaw, by the way. We didn't have a wood saw with us, so using a hacksaw with a metal blade, 3 blokes taking it in turns, blisters all up our hands, a couple of hours per log maybe, just taking it easy. Anyway, got them cut to length, and then we held them in place between the rods that held the original skids up, and we didn't have any bolts or any way of attaching it, so what did we use? Tent pegs. We just used tent pegs like nails. They took us all the way out of Steep Point, all the way back down to Perth, and we kept using it on weekends just like that. As for the tinny, this stuff here was the saving grace. Bit of metal repair putty. It probably wasn't this stuff, because the fact that I have it in my hand means it definitely wasn't this same thing. You just cut a piece off of it. It's here, I'll show you. It's just like a really thick Play-Doh-y tube, and you just cut a bit off it and you knead it together between your fingers. You start to feel it mix up, because it's a bit different through the middle. There's like 2 different compounds here. You start to feel it get really warm, then you work it into the hole and it just sets like steel. Both the tinny and the trailer lasted like that until I sold them. Now, talking about steel putty brings me to tip number, I'm not even going to bother with my hands, number 7, a plastic repair version using Superglue and bicarb. Yeah, weird, right? So it turns out that bicarb can be an accelerator for superglue. Superglue hardens when it's exposed to moisture or alkalinity. As it turns out, Mackenzie's, since 1852, bicarb soda, is very alkaline. Bit of superglue first, in the cracks as usual. And then, bit of bicarb. Let's try the one down the back here. Some superglue and bicarb. Now, it might get hot as you go because of the chemical reaction being so extreme, and I can actually feel the heat on the back of my fingers, on the back of this case. There's the result. It's not pretty, but it is set hard. So it works as an accelerator. It makes things rock hard in seconds. But it also helps sort of build things up a bit. So pretty useful for where there's a bigger crack or there's a little piece missing. But we can take it a step further. There's a huge hole here, right? Well, with just a bit of cloth, we can actually make a patch, a little bit like fiberglassing. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That is ugly as heck. I agree. It does not look good. Wait till you see the inside. But if it gets you out of some sort of trouble, then it's kind of worth it, isn't it? If it keeps the camping trip going, it's kind of worth it. There's just one problem. It's not at all flexible. If you need it to be flexible, that's not your solution. If it's rubber, flexible plastic like this stove case is. Now, a water tank is flexible, or a jerry can, something you're storing your camping water in. How are you going to fix that? Also, you can't really use super glue on that because super glue is not drinking water safe. So what do you do there? Coming at you, Thor, the mighty hammer. I hate that I'm about to do this. This jerry can has served me well since like 2014, I reckon. Soldering iron. If you don't have one, you could get away with maybe heating up a butter knife on the gas stove. Just be careful of that heat transfer up the handle. Nearly burned myself on this a moment ago. I'm going to use the soldering iron just to do plastic welding. So if it's a crack, you might get away with just running it up there and sort of smoothing the plastic out over the top. But very likely you're going to need some kind of filler. So cable ties actually make pretty good filler. You just kind of got to, it's a bit like welding or soldering. Get the cable tie melting and push it onto the crack or hole. But they're a different type of plastic, so it doesn't always work the best. What's even better is if you can get the same plastic that the jerry can's made of, and in my case, well, I've got this little piece under the handle, and I think it used to be for holding a water spout. I can cut that out, and that becomes my filler of the same material. So let's see how we go patching up this hole. Just sort of using it to melt and cut little pieces of the plastic off and allow them to work their way down into the hole. Or if it's a crack, you're doing the same along the length of a crack. You want to make sure you're melting a bit of the plastic around as well, so as it's all melting in together. It smells like birthdays. What do they make birthday candles out of, I wonder? I don't know if I trust that. Let that dry. Now, with the soldering iron, it's a little bit easier because it's constantly pumping heat into it. If you're having to use a hot knife or some other piece of hot metal, you might be going back and forth to a gas stove a few times to get this done. Fig jam, ladies and gents, fig jam. That's not even a, I'll fix this properly when I get home. That's she good for another 12 years. A broken tent pole calls for a moment to chill out. A nice cold drink of Dr. Pepper cherry and just think things over for a moment. I don't usually drink Dr. Pepper Cherry. In fact, I've never had it in my life. I just chose it because I thought it would look more intriguing in the thumbnail. Who knows, maybe I'll be converted. No. That tastes like medicine. How do you drink that? A broken tent pole. The last time this happened to me, what we did was we went into the socket kit and we got a long shaft socket that would sit over the join. We slipped the socket over and we just electrical taped it on. Now the problem with that is the socket wall was quite thick, and so we couldn't slide the pole properly through the tent. It took a lot of massaging to get it there. Rob White 240Z has a way better idea, and that's what the can of drink was for. You want to be really careful doing this because the edges of that can are going to be razor sharp. In hindsight, I would put gloves on if I had any with me. I don't. No, I don't. A bit of tape the same length as the can to get started. Stick that to the pole. Ready for when I get to the end. Now we wrap. Try and keep lots of tension on that. Honestly, that's probably about enough there. And then just finish by binding the whole thing up with some masking tape. Why masking tape? Well, Rob White 270Z, bloody awesome car by the way, I hope you own one, says that masking tape doesn't have any flex. I agree with that, like it's not going to stretch, it's nice and firm, and sets rock hard, he reckons. One repaired tent pole. Now, sure, it's you're not going to be able to collapse it anymore, but it's going to keep your tent up nice and solid. And when you get home, you can buy a tent pole repair kit. I usually carry one in my camping kit with me, or you can even buy replacement pole segments so you can do a proper job and be able to collapse your tent poles again. There's another thing I want to show you about tents. It's a very simple thing to do with zippers, and I'm not about to tell you just lube them up. Do you ever get where the zipper ends up with little spaces in it, like it's not zipping together properly, and either you can't get it started and the teeth won't mesh, or they mesh in one spot and then they separate again? Well, most of the time, the fix is really simple. Come have a look a little closer. So quite often, it's just because the little zipper pull has got a bit loose, or as the zipper wears out, this doesn't quite press tight enough anymore. So all you got to do is get a pair of pliers and just gently press down on that zipper pull. You don't want to do this too hard because they tend to just be die-cast aluminium or like Chinesium steel. So if you do it too hard, it'll just crack. You just apply a little bit of pressure till you can just feel it move. And most of the time that will fix your problem. Now, of course, there's plenty more repairs that might seem more obvious. We've got a needle and thread. You'll fix just about anything fabric with that. Duct tape and cable ties. Almost everything else. The metal repair putty we spoke about. The Superglue and the bicarb soda. None of these things take up too much space in a camping kit and are all worth carrying. Now it's your turn for story time. Let us know how you saved the camping trip with a great repair. Pop it down in the comments and you might just be helping a fellow camper in the future.